Well, hey guys, today is Sunday, February 12th, 2023, Super Bowl Sunday. Chiefs won the Super Bowl. I'm happy about that because my wife is a Chiefs fan. I'm not much of a football fan, but her team won, so she's happy. We're all happy. Um, anyway, been a while since I've done a video of any type of importance towards, this Bigfoot, the Sasquatch subject, the forest people. Um, those of you who are new subscribers, I'm going to ask that. You kind of stop here and go back to some of my previous videos um, over this past summer and try and get caught up. Even my longtime viewers, that this has been kind of a long time coming. Um, I'm going to start off. This is probably going to be a longer video. So I've been doing a little bit of reflection on, some of my past events in life. Um, I'm going to jump backwards 32 years for a moment because for me, it is necessary. Um, 32 years ago, right now, was at a location called um, the fo- I was in the verge of transferring between what they called the TAA, Tactical Assembly Area, in Saudi Arabia outside of King Khal Military City. I was with 54th Combat Engineer Battalion, supporting 2nd Brigade of the 1st Armored Division, the Iron Brigade. Um, but we were staging and getting prepared for the offensive to go into the ground invasion of Iraq. And the only reason I'm bringing that up is that was a major moment in my life. I mean, the whole war was, but we're there on the border, we're staged, we're not really knowing what to expect. We're going up against the fourth largest military force on the face of the planet, a battle-hardened army. They outmanned us 10-1, fighting on their own soil. They used chemical weapons. They've used them against their own population at this point in time up in northern Iraq, Kurdish villages. Um, so to say I wasn't terrified of the event, I don't know if terrified is the right word. Deeply concerned. We were very well trained, we were very well prepared, and highly prepared for any type of chemical or biological agent warfare. One of my jobs, besides being a mechanic, well, I had several jobs. I was a mechanic. I was also a combat lifesaver, which, for those of you who never served in the military and don't know, it's one step underneath a medic, and lessons were learned in Vietnam that the average soldiers, didn't have enough first aid training. And so what they would do is they'd take a couple of guys out of each platoon and give them extensive medical training. So I was a combat lifesaver. I was also a master M2 Browning 50 caliber machine gun operator. I was very, very, very good on this weapon system. And being we only had two of these weapons in our company, you know, because we're a headquarters company, we weren't supposed to see combat. Um, One of my other jobs was I was NBC specialist, nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare specialist. I did a lot of extensive training in that field as well. You know, so I was very confident uh, going over there that things would favor in our direction. However, I did, however, expect not to come back. Um, Previous video, I'd talked about the visions I had where I took what I believed was a life-ending injury. Needless to say, that didn't happen. I'm sitting here in front of you. You know, that incident did happen. I just didn't get hit. Um, you know, so you know, fast forward a little bit. You know, or I don't know if fast forward's the right word, but you know, that this was a major event in my life, an event that I saw coming from the time of of being a young teenager, 13 years old, having these visions of this war and me being in it. Um, you know, it made me reflect on a lot of things. Um, you know, so 32 years ago, man, I'll tell you what, give me a second. 32 years ago, I would have never dreamed that I am where I am today, in life in general. But, you know, to have told me 32 years ago that I was going to be spending time out in the middle of nowhere uh, with Bigfoot, you know, the forest people, uh, I would have just said, dude, you're out of your mind. But you know, so here I am, you know, coming up on this June will be 6 years. You know, that I've actively been doing this, and the things that I have learned and my team has learned. Um, I don't even know how to explain it. Incredible is one way to look at it. Mind numbing, earth shattering. Pardon the pun, earth shattering. Um, you'll understand that here briefly or shortly. You know, periodically, when we're in communication with the forest people, meaning they're willing to respond to us with questions, and this is done via mind speak. You know, a lot of times I'll ask the questions out loud, or Chuck or somebody will ask the questions out loud, and one of us will get an answer. Typically, it's me. You know, because for some reason I seem to be a lot more in tuned into receiving the mind speak communications. But we were up at Hilltop, and this was 2 years ago, 2021, and I got told 3 are coming, 2 are left. And so I told the guys, I said, hey, I just got told 3 are coming, 2 are left. And we were at that point in time under the impression that it had something to do with, you know, there were more coming to see us because we've been told that before, that so and so is coming to see you, or we got more coming to see you, or an incident waiting on my granddaughter and her boyfriend and my daughter and her old man to come up to camp, and I get told they'll be here within a half hour, and within a half hour they pulled in. So I don't believe in coincidences. These that have had too many situations like that it just is what it is. But so we thought the three are coming to our left had to do with more of the more individuals coming to visit with us or interact with us, however you want to look at it. But nobody else ended up showing up, and so was a little stumped by it, and over a year's time had gotten that message. I don't know, I think three or four times that three are coming to our left. And it was at Crazy Town. I know Rob was there. And him and I were standing there, and I got that. Three are coming to our left again. Now, mind you, this is a completely different area. Probably, I don't know, 50 miles plus or minus 10 from where Hilltop is as a crow flies. It's different family groups, and I get the same message. Three are coming to her left. And we're trying to understand, asking them, what does this mean? I'm a little slow, Can you explain this to us? And if I recall correctly, this was the first time Rob actually got mind speak. And and I know, Rob, you're going to watch this, and I've told you this over and over. And no fault to Rob. I love Rob to death. Rob overthinks things, so trying to understand the mind speak thing, he was thinking it was going to be one way, and so this particular night he actually got the mind speak, and he goes, wow, this is weird. It was like a thought in my head. And I said, that's what I've been trying to tell you. Most of the time it's more like a thought entering your mind that's not yours. Yes, sometimes I hear audible voices, but majority of the time it's thoughts being put into my head that are not mine. So anyway, so moving on with this, what Rob got was, or what we had got was that this is going to be, this has to do with catastrophic events worldwide. And what Rob had got in the mind speak was that the first event out of the three had to do with the COVID. And so three events are coming. One's already happened. There's two more left over, or two more to come. There's nobody that can argue that the COVID thing did not drastically alter the planet. I'm not going to get into my thoughts on COVID and the vaccines. Just understand I had extensive training in nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare. So, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of the COVID because it's just pointless at this time. We just know that it drastically changed the way the world operates. Um, I mean, it shut down the world, in essence. Things have, you know, been on the tendency of bouncing back forward, but, that's more illusionary than anything else. Um, so fast forward to my last trip at Hilltop, which coincides with something I was told when we were at Squatch Camp um, back in August. So you can go back and watch those videos. But we've got some very, 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 very powerful things that are getting ready to go down. The two items that remain, what we were told, one is war, um, specifying on the nuclear end of it, but war um, worldwide. And the second is massive geological changes, which will include external events. And what I mean by external events are things that are coming from space. The geological changes, I mean, we just had a very good, in my opinion, light demonstration of what we're going to be facing this year, next year, this year and going into next year. Some very erratic geological changes. So this earthquake that just hit Turkey and affected Syria, the last I looked was over 33,000 dead, ranks right now in the top 10 known earthquakes in mankind's history as far as devastation, fatalities. Um, my heart goes out to everybody over there, and my prayers go out to everybody over there that is suffering from this event. There's thousands of collapsed buildings that it's going to take months or longer to even come close to going through that. So what the total fatality count is going to be, I don't think we're ever going to know, but I'm going to take a guess that it's probably, the realistic numbers are probably going to encroach 60, 70,000 dead. It's not a prediction or anything like that. It's just, little deductive reasoning and common sense. Seeing the footage of these cities that are just completely, I mean, they look like they've been nuked. So the casualty count is just going to keep going up, and the people that are homeless are in the millions, and the injured from it are in the hundreds of thousands. This is just a small taste of things that I have seen and visions that have been given to me. I want to stop for a minute and say I'm not fear mongering, because it's not something that we should have fear of. Just lost my train of thought. But anyway, we don't have control over it. So it's nothing to be feared. Yeshua told us that that we're not given the spirit of fear, but of faith, hope, and love. And so looking at something like this, and this happened clear on the other side of the pond. It does it directly affect majority of those who are watching this? No. We sit peacefully and in our comfort and go, yeah, it's on the other side of the world. It's not always going to be on the other side of the planet. It's not going to always affect somebody else. Um, on the war front, and this is part of why, at the beginning of this video that I had, talked about 32 years ago in Desert Storm, and yeah, I can see the writing on the wall. I get a lot of information that's coming directly out of Ukraine. I get information that comes. Well, I don't typically do this, but I am going to give a shout out to warnews247.gr, which the .gr stands for Greece. It's a website out of Greece that gives a lot of detailed information about what's actually going on in Ukraine and the trouble that they're in. It's not pretty over there. This is a completely different style of fighting that we have never seen. They have seen it. We look back at World War II, and D-Day and the Battle of the Bulge and the fight that we had against, against the powers of Axis, the Japanese and the Germans and so forth and so on. And our end of that fight, even though it was brutal and, we lost a lot of people, nothing in comparison to the fighting that went on in Ukraine and in the areas there where, and even into Russia when the Nazi